Have you ever felt trapped by your believed past? Deep-seated conditioning, old beliefs, and even believed insecurities? Do they have you feeling paralyzed and stuck? You understand logically that your external reality is nothing more than an intricate mirror reflecting your inner state. But that one question remains. The one question that I see all over my comment section. How do we actually transcend this? How do we actually awaken? How do we embody this transcendence of everything that we've been carrying and attaching ourselves to for so long? And that is what we are going to discuss today. I have a video that I just made about this mirror that is a reflection of our inner state, reflecting outwardly to what we believe our life is. If you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to check it out. I'll include it at the end, and I'll do my best to add it in here right now. In this video, we discuss this mirror. We discuss what it can feel like when we are reactive to this inner state that we are holding on to. And we discuss how it can be so convincing that this life we believe is outside of us, that is just what we are at the mercy of. That is what we are suffering. And it all points back to the inner state as a reflection on what you believe your external reality to be. It sets the stage for this video. So in this video, we're going to discuss and answer the question the best that I can from my personal experience as someone who has transcended all of the conditioning, the insecurities and identification that I have believed myself to be for so long. I don't know if many of you can relate. I'm sure your experience is different, but there may be some things that you can relate to with my personal experience. My conditioning, my insecurities about my body, about who I believed I was, my face, everything about me. I recall a few years ago feeling like I was extremely ugly. And I don't tell you that for any other reason to just express how unconscious I was and how asleep I was and programmed I was. It isn't about being ugly or not ugly. It's about believing the story you tell yourself. When you do this, it is projected as your external reality. In other words, it is projected as the life that you believe you are living. And when this happens, maybe it's about your body. Like I said, deep-seated programming and conditioning. Maybe as you were growing up through your childhood, you were forced because of your family structure to follow a certain religion. You could ask no questions at all. You couldn't truly understand it. You just had to follow. And maybe that's where you are now. Maybe it doesn't make as much sense. Maybe you do have questions. And you're trying to break free from the programming that you notice you were put through. And most of the time, we don't even notice the programming or the conditions. That is a big distinguishing factor that we must come to the understanding of. And it takes deep, motivated self-investigation. It takes questioning the surface level of what you believe life to be. There is more to what you believe this life is. Most of what you think life is, for most people, is going to be a story you're telling yourself. And you must question that story and see where it originates from. And then and only then are you able to transcend the story and embody that transcendence for your ultimate transformation. I don't say this lightly because it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, I speak of it here because I have been able to do this, to see this, to feel this to my core. But I totally understand that many people can't. I know that. And I totally understand that many people will never be able to even see the difference between the story that they are living in reality as it is, truth. But that is why I started this channel. I started this channel for truth seekers, whoever you may be, to investigate this and many other topics about the nature of reality and the nature of ourselves, so we can break free from the cage that we have placed ourselves in for so damn long. So I want to first transition to the point of this programming, this conditioning, these insecurities, these beliefs, this story, the narrator that you believe is you, the voice you hear that sounds just like you, seems so personal. I want to first help you understand logically that all of these things are not immovable walls. They are not permanent, immovable objects. They are not as solid as they feel and as real as they seem. I want to express that to you as clearly as I can, because then we can only understand that we are not actually doing something by force. There's no force required in transcending this and embodying this transcendence. It is essentially a noticing. And I know a noticing doesn't sound powerful. It doesn't. Many times I'll be making these videos and I'll speak of the noticing. And it sounds bland, boring. Give me something more. But true transformation to your core, the embodiment that you are looking for in awakening, simply does come from removing the blindfold. The blindfold being that which you have been believing to be your life, that in which you have been believing to be reality, the story, the way that you believe your story tells you it is. And that doesn't take force, it takes noticing. Now, whether that sounds boring or not, this boring noticing leads to the transformation, the biggest revelation that you could ever experience in your entire life. I get passionate as I speak about this, guys, because as I mentioned in the first video, the story that I thought I was, the insecure little boy addicted to his body image, afraid to speak to people in public and afraid to look people in the eyes. Seeing and noticing that story, that identification and that programming that was ingrained in me for so long, and transcending that has led to nothing short of the most powerful thing that I have ever experienced in my entire life. With the noticing comes from seeing inherent duality. Duality being this and that. I have other videos, and the first pillar of truth is that consciousness is all. Consciousness is everything. Everything is consciousness, however you want to say it. That is the first pillar of truth. So I am going to speak to this next point as simply and understanding of that first pillar of truth, that consciousness is all. But you do have to make some concessions. When I say that with this noticing comes a noticing of duality, with this noticing, with this feeling, and with this seeing, on one hand, you reach a point. I don't like to even say reach a point. There is an occurrence. There is an arising. It isn't a reaching of a destination in which your story is revealed to you as simply only a story, as simply only a narrative. And then on the other hand, your shift into your greater awareness is noticed and felt to the core. And the duality that you do notice, that is a duality in a sense, but in the whole picture, nothing is separate, is your true being, the awareness and pure consciousness that you are, in the story, in the narrative that arises randomly, spontaneously, from the ingrained deep programming that you have been taking this being, this true being, your true source, and clinging onto it. But truthfully, you are simply this source. You are simply the witness, the observer. That is all you are. And that witness, that observer, that isn't a person, isn't an object, and doesn't have objective qualities. It is simply pure being, pure aliveness. It's hard to describe, but it is a feeling that you know and you have known. You just simply don't know that is only what you are. And the rest is simply a coloring of the canvas that you are. That shift, that noticing, that transcendence is what you surrender to. You fall into, and you feel something. You feel something that you have never felt before. Maybe some anxiety comes with it. Maybe some dread comes with it. Some fear comes with it. I can't speak for everybody's situation with awakening. But my situation was nothing short of liberation. It was a freedom from my cage that I have placed myself in because of the story that I believed. My inner state reflecting to my external believed world. And that is what I lived in for so long. You finally break out of this cage. You are set free to rest in your empowerment, to rest in your being. And I cannot express the freedom that comes with this when you have felt held down by these conditions and this programming and these insecurities. You know, this is something relatively simple to really understand. Once you get involved in this niche, in this field, you understand how relatively simple all of this is. But you also see how complicated it is as well, because it is trying to speak to those who have been asleep for so long. And when someone is deep within their slumber, they don't want to be awakened. Even if they say they do, when you express this to them, they don't like it. All I can do is share this message that saved me from believing and limiting myself to discovering and feeling and embodying my true empowerment. And it can interest you, it can pull you in, intrigue you, or you can continue sleepwalking. It's not up to me. It's your choice. Whatever feels the best. That's really all you can do. So I really hope that this video helped you guys. I wanted this to follow that video that I just made. I wanted this to show you how to embody this. Starts with the noticing. Starts with the seeing of the separation and the feeling of your true being, and the rest is history. Once you see this clearly, once you see the separation from that which you were attaching to what you truly are, there's no more permanent grip on you ever again. It's like water off of a duck's back. You may feel it for a moment, but it just rolls right off. And your freedom that you have always had and always been is now here for you to be felt. You didn't acquire it. It didn't just come to you, and you didn't just turn it on. You remembered it. You remembered what you truly were and what you truly are and always have been. Thank you, Truth Seekers. I really appreciate you guys being here. Please, if you enjoyed this message, like it. Like the video, that is, and click subscribe. Thank you for being here. It honestly means the world.